The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly before the Zarkon scout ship. Captain Zelnera's tentacles twitched with anticipation as her vessel approached the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star. The planet's blue and green surface peeked through swirling white clouds. It was beautiful, but beauty alone didn't interest the Galactic Empire. They sought resources and new races to bring into their fold, willingly or otherwise. "Life signs detected, Captain," chirped her sensor officer. "Numerous artificial structures on the surface and in orbit. Primitive technology by our standards, but clear evidence of an industrialized civilization." Zelnera's compound eyes gleamed. "Excellent. Prepare a first contact package. We'll observe for now, but I want to be ready to communicate if detected." For 3 solar cycles, the Zarkon ship lurked at the edge of the system, studying the blue planet and its inhabitants. They intercepted radio and television broadcasts, piecing together a rudimentary understanding of the species that called itself human. "Fascinating," mused Zelnera as she reviewed the data. "They've barely left their own planet, yet they dream of the stars. Their fiction is filled with stories of both peaceful and violent encounters with alien life." Her second-in-command, Vexlor, clicked his mandibles nervously. "Should we be concerned, Captain? They seem rather aggressive." Zelnera waved a dismissive tentacle. "They're centuries behind us technologically. Their aggression is born of ignorance. Once they understand the might of the Empire, they'll fall in line like all the others." How wrong she was. The Zarkon ship decloaked in high orbit, broadcasting a message of peaceful contact in every language they had deciphered. The response was immediate and unexpected. Instead of wonder or fear, the humans reacted with a mix of excitement and suspicion. Within hours, a hastily assembled coalition of Earth's most powerful nations had convened. They debated furiously about how to respond, but one thing was clear: humanity would present a united front. A transmission crackled through to the Zarkon ship. A stern-faced human appeared on the view screen, identified as the Secretary General of the United Nations. "Greetings, visitors," the human said, his voice steady. "We welcome peaceful contact, but we must insist on certain conditions. Any meetings must take place on neutral ground, perhaps our International Space Station. We will not allow your vessels to enter our atmosphere without our express permission." Zelnera was taken aback. No newly contacted species had ever dared to make demands of the Empire before. She decided a show of force was in order. "Your cooperation is appreciated," she replied, her translator conveying false warmth, "but unnecessary. The Galactic Empire has protocols for first contact scenarios. We will be landing a diplomatic team in your largest population center shortly. Please ensure they are given full access to your leader's hand." The human cut her off, his expression hardening. "I'm afraid that's not acceptable. Any unauthorized entry into our airspace will be considered an act of aggression and dealt with accordingly." Zelnera's tentacles writhed in agitation. "You misunderstand. Primitive. This is not a negotiation. The Empire." Alarms blared throughout her ship. The tactical officer's exoskeleton paled. "Captain, multiple launches detected from the planet's surface. Primitive nuclear-tipped missiles, but there are thousands of them." Zelnera's compound eyes widened in disbelief. "Impossible. Evasive maneuvers. Raise shields." The Zarkon ship danced through space, its advanced technology allowing it to avoid most of the crude missiles. But the sheer number of projectiles meant some got through. The ship shuddered as nuclear detonations bloomed against its shields. "Shields at 60% and falling," cried the tactical officer. "Captain, we can't withstand this level of assault for long." Zelnera's mind raced. This was unprecedented. No species had ever attacked an Imperial vessel during first contact. The sheer audacity, the recklessness. "Retreat," she barked. "Get us out of this system immediately. We need to inform High Command." As the Zarkon ship limped away at superluminal speeds, the crew sat in stunned silence. They had come expecting to find another primitive race to add to the Empire's collection. Instead, they had awoken a sleeping giant. On Earth, celebrations erupted across the globe. Humanity had faced its first alien encounter and emerged victorious. But in conference rooms and military bunkers, leaders knew the truth. This was only the beginning. The Galactic Empire had discovered that humans don't negotiate. They dominate. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Empire buzzed with angry voices. Holograms of various alien species flickered around the room, each one demanding action against the upstart humans. Emperor Zaxanar, a towering insectoid creature, raised all four of his arms for silence. The chamber fell quiet. "We have heard the report from Captain Selnera," he began, his voice echoing through the vast space. "These humans have dared to attack an Imperial vessel. Such insolence cannot stand." A reptilian counselor hissed in agreement. "We should obliterate their pitiful world as an example to others." But Zaxanar's compound eyes glittered with cruel amusement. "No," he said slowly. "I have a better idea. We'll give them a chance to surrender. When they refuse, and they will refuse, we'll crush them utterly. It will make our victory all the sweeter." Back on Earth, humanity prepared for war. The nations of the world, once divided, now stood united against the alien threat. Factories that once made cars now produced tanks and fighter jets. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology glimpsed during the brief encounter. In a hidden bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Sarah Chen pored over reports and satellite data. She looked up as an aide rushed in. "General, we've detected a massive object entering the solar system. It's bigger than the moon." Chen's eyes narrowed. "So, they're back. And this time, they're not messing around." The object was an Imperial dreadnought, a city-sized warship capable of destroying entire planets. It took up position just beyond the orbit of Mars, its presence a looming threat in Earth's sky. A transmission boomed across every radio frequency, television channel, and internet connection on the planet. Emperor Zaxanar's alien visage filled screens worldwide. "People of Earth," he began, his words translated into hundreds of languages. "Your unprovoked attack on our diplomatic vessel has not been forgotten. But the Galactic Empire is merciful. Surrender now, and you may yet have a place in our glorious civilization." In the United Nations emergency session, world leaders watched the broadcast in tense silence. The Secretary General turned to his colleagues. "Thoughts?" The President of the African Union stood up. "We've seen what happens to cultures that surrender to colonial powers. Never again." "Agreed," said the European Union representative. "We'd rather die on our feet than live on our knees, or whatever appendages these aliens have." The Secretary General nodded grimly. He approached the communications array, straightened his tie, and began Earth's response. "Emperor Zaxanar," he said, his voice steady, "humanity has heard your ultimatum. We have also unanimously rejected it. We did not attack your ship. We defended our home against uninvited intruders. If you want Earth, you'll have to take it from our cold, dead hands." He paused, then added, "And we suggest you bring more than one oversized ship if you're planning to try." In the Imperial dreadnought, Zaxanar's mandibles clicked in surprise. This was not how it was supposed to go. Primitive races always cowered before the Empire's might. Always. "Very well," he snarled. "You've made your choice. Prepare the planet Cracker Beam. We'll start by boiling their oceans." But as the dreadnought's weapons powered up, alarms blared throughout the ship. Hundreds of small, stealthy vessels suddenly appeared, swarming around the massive alien craft. In the lead ship, General Chen allowed herself a small smile. The reverse-engineered cloaking devices had worked perfectly. "All units," she commanded, "execute Operation David and Goliath. Let's show these bugs what happens when you threaten humanity." The swarm of Earth ships attacked, their weapons small but numerous. They targeted the dreadnought's sensors, weapons, and engines with surgical precision. Zaxnar watched in disbelief as his mighty ship was slowly but surely disabled by creatures he had dismissed as primitive. As systems failed around him, he realized a terrible truth. The Galactic Empire had given humans an ultimatum. Humans had decided to give war in return. The vast expanse of space around Mars lit up with explosions. Earth's swarm of small, agile ships darted around the Imperial dreadnought like angry bees, stinging at every vulnerable point they could find. Inside the massive alien vessel, Emperor Zaxinar's compound eyes widened in disbelief. "How is this possible?" he roared. "They're savages. They shouldn't even be able to reach us, let alone damage our ship." His tactical officer, struggling to track the human vessels, responded shakily. "Sire, they seem to have adapted our cloaking technology, and their weapons, they're crude but effective. Our shields are already down to 60%. On Earth, military commanders watched the battle unfold via satellite feeds and data from the attack ships. General Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "All units, focus fire on their main weapon arrays. We can't let them use that planet cracker beam." The human ships responded instantly, concentrating their attacks on the dreadnought's massive forward cannon. Explosions blossomed across the alien ship's hull as precise strikes found their mark. But the Empire wasn't defeated yet. The dreadnought's remaining weapons blazed to life, filling space with deadly energy beams and projectiles. Several human ships exploded, their crews lost in silent flashes of light. Chen gritted her teeth. "We've hurt them, but we need something more. Command, this is General Chen. It's time for Phase 2. Back on Earth, a dozen hidden silos opened in remote locations. Massive rockets, far larger than anything publicly known, roared to life. These were humanity's secret weapons, developed in the days since first contact by a global coalition of scientists and engineers. As the rockets cleared Earth's atmosphere, they split apart, releasing thousands of smaller projectiles. Each one contained a potent mix of conventional explosives and reverse-engineered alien technology. Zaxnar watched in horror as his tactical display lit up with new threats. "Evasive maneuvers," he screamed. But the dreadnought, already damaged and far too large, couldn't hope to dodge the incoming swarm. The impacts were devastating. Explosions rocked the massive ship, tearing huge chunks from its hull. Fires broke out across multiple decks as atmosphere vented into space. "Sire," a junior officer approached Zaxnar, trembling. "We've lost main power. Weapons are offline. Engine control is gone. We need to abandon ship." The Emperor's mandibles clicked in fury. This couldn't be happening. Not to him. Not to the Galactic Empire. "No," he raged. "I will not flee from primitives. Prepare a counterattack. We'll show these humans the true might-off." His words were cut off as a final massive explosion tore through the ship's central core. The great dreadnought, pride of the Imperial fleet, broke apart in a spectacular series of explosions. On Earth, cheers erupted in command centers and public squares alike. Humanity had faced its first interstellar battle and emerged victorious. But in a secure bunker, world leaders gathered with grim faces. The Secretary General addressed the group. "We've won the battle, but not the war. The Empire will be back, and in greater numbers. We need to prepare." President Yuki Tanaka of Japan stood up. "My country's scientists have made progress in understanding the alien technology. We believe we can adapt it to improve our defenses and develop faster-than-light travel." "Good," nodded the Russian president. "We'll need every advantage. My military is already working on new tactics based on what we've learned from this battle." General Chen's hologram appeared in the center of the room. "If I may, leaders of Earth, I have a suggestion. We shouldn't wait for them to come to us. Once we have FTL capability, we should take the fight to them." A murmur of agreement ran through the room. The African Union representative spoke up. "Agreed. We'll show this empire that humanity isn't just good at defending. We know how to take the offensive too. As the meeting continued, plans were laid for humanity's next steps. They had survived the Empire's first assault, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Empire had expected easy victory. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant, and humanity was ready to show the galaxy that they didn't just resist. They conquered. In a vast underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Ava Rodriguez squinted at the holographic display floating before her. Pieces of alien technology, salvaged from the destroyed dreadnought, hovered in the air, slowly rotating. Incredible, she muttered, reaching out to manipulate a particularly complex component. Their power generation system is unlike anything we've ever seen. Next to her, Dr. Chen Wei nodded in agreement. And yet, the underlying principles are familiar. It's as if they took our understanding of physics and extended it in ways we never imagined. The two scientists were part of Earth's Alien Technology Adaptation Team, AT-AT, a global coalition of the brightest minds humanity had to offer. Their mission: to understand and improve upon the Galactic Empire's technology. In the months since the Battle of Mars, as it had come to be known, humanity had made incredible strides. The remains of the dreadnought had proven to be a technological goldmine. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Dr. Rodriguez looked up, startled. "What's going on?" A voice came over the intercom. "All personnel, report to the main hangar immediately. We have a breakthrough in the FTL project." Scientists and engineers from all over the facility rushed to the enormous hangar. In the center stood a sleek, silver spacecraft, unlike anything Earth had produced before. General Sarah Chen, hero of the Battle of Mars, stood before the assembled crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice filled with pride, "I give you the Phoenix, humanity's first faster-than-light capable ship." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Dr. Rodriguez turned to Dr. Wei, her eyes shining with excitement. "We did it," she whispered. "We actually did it." But the general wasn't finished. "And that's not all," she continued, gesturing to a row of devices on a nearby table. "Thanks to the hard work of our weapons division, we've also developed these." She picked up what looked like a simple handgun. "This may look like an ordinary pistol, but it packs the punch of a tank. And this," she said, pointing to a small sphere, "is a portable shield generator, capable of stopping even the Empire's energy weapons." The crowd murmured in awe. In less than a year, humanity had leapfrogged centuries of technological development. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire was in chaos. The loss of Emperor Zaxnar and the dreadnought had sent shockwaves through Imperial society. In the Grand Palace on the Imperial throne world, the newly crowned Empress Vexera addressed her war council. "How?" she demanded, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "How could these primitives have defeated our mightiest warship?" Admiral Kronak, a grizzled veteran of 1,000 battles, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we've analyzed the data from the dreadnought's last transmission. It appears the humans have somehow adapted our own technology against us." Vexera's compound eyes narrowed. "Impossible. No species has ever reversed engineered our tech so quickly." "Nevertheless," Kronak continued, "the evidence is clear. And our spies report that they're making rapid advancements. If we don't act soon, they may surpass us." The Empress considered this for a moment. "Very well. Prepare the fleet. We'll crush these upstart humans once and for all." But even as the Empire prepared for war, humanity was making its next move. Back on Earth, the Phoenix prepared for its maiden voyage. Its mission: to establish a hidden base in a nearby star system, from which humanity could launch its counterattack. As the ship's engines powered up, General Chen addressed the crew. "Remember," she said solemnly, "we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for the freedom of every species oppressed by the Empire. We'll show the galaxy that humans don't just adapt." She paused, a fierce glint in her eye. "We innovate. We improve. And soon, the Empire will learn that the technology they once lorded over us will be their downfall." With a brilliant flash of light, the Phoenix vanished into hyperspace, carrying with it humanity's hopes for the future. The Galactic Empire had unwittingly given humans the keys to the stars, and humans were ready to use them. The Phoenix emerged from hyperspace in a brilliant flash of light, its sleek hull gleaming in the glow of an alien sun. Captain Maya Patel stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the unfamiliar star system. "Status report," she commanded. Her first officer, Lieutenant Jake Chen, responded promptly. "All systems nominal, Captain. We've arrived at the coordinates for Operation Beachhead." Maya nodded. "Excellent. Begin planetary scan for a suitable base location." As the crew busied themselves with their tasks, Maya couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Just a year ago, humanity had been confined to their solar system. Now they were light years from home, preparing to strike back at an interstellar empire. The Phoenix wasn't alone. Hidden in its wake, a fleet of Earth's new warships dropped out of hyperspace. Each vessel incorporated the best of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech. On the bridge of the flagship, General Sarah Chen watched as the fleet assembled. "All ships, report in," she ordered. One by one, the captains confirmed their readiness. The invasion force was primed and ready. Meanwhile, on the Imperial throne world, Empress Vexera received troubling news. "Your Majesty," Admiral Kronak began hesitantly, "we've lost contact with several of our outer colonies." Vexera's tentacles writhed in agitation. "Explain." "At first, we thought it was a communication malfunction, but we've confirmed that the colonies have been attacked. The few distress signals we received, they mentioned human ships." The Empress's compound eyes widened in shock. "Impossible. How could they have reached our territory so quickly?" But the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, the humans had not only developed faster than light travel, but had used it to launch a surprise attack deep into Imperial space. Back in the frontier system, the Earth fleet had established their forward base. The Phoenix, its mission complete, prepared to return home for more supplies. Captain Patel addressed her crew. "We've taken the first step in liberating the galaxy from Imperial rule. Each of you should be proud. But our work is just beginning." As the Phoenix jumped to hyperspace, the rest of the fleet began their assault on nearby Imperial strongholds. On the planet Zarthak, an Imperial governor watched in horror as human ships appeared in the sky. "Quickly," he shouted to his aides, "contact the Imperial fleet. We need reinforcements." But help would not arrive in time. The human ships deployed a new weapon, an electromagnetic pulse that disabled the planet's defenses in seconds. Before the governor could react, Earth Marines were teleporting directly into his palace. A grizzled sergeant stepped forward, his advanced armor making him look more like a robot than a man. "In the name of the United Earth government," he declared, "you are hereby relieved of your command." Similar scenes played out across a dozen worlds. The Empire, caught off guard by humanity's advanced technology and bold tactics, found itself losing ground rapidly. Admiral Kronak struggled to coordinate a defense. "How are they always one step ahead?" he wondered aloud. "It's as if they know our every move." He was right to be suspicious. Unbeknownst to the Empire, humans had cracked their communication codes. Every Imperial transmission was an open book to Earth's intelligence services. On Earth, the mood was cautiously optimistic. News of victories poured in from the front lines. But world leaders knew the real battle was yet to come. In a secret war room, the United Earth Council convened. The Secretary General addressed the assembly. "We've bloodied the Empire's nose, but they still outnumber us vastly. We need to press our advantage before they can regroup." The Russian president nodded in agreement. "Duh. Our next target should be their shipyards. Without them, they cannot replace their losses." As the council debated strategy, a junior officer burst into the room. "Urgent news from the front," he exclaimed. "We've made contact with a resistance movement within the Empire. Non-human species who want to join our cause." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had set out to defend itself. Now, they found themselves leading a galactic revolution. The Galactic Empire had fought to subjugate Earth. Instead, they had created their own worst nightmare, a humanity united, technologically advanced, and burning with the desire for justice. The counterattack had begun, and it was only the beginning. The bustling spaceport on Nexus Prime, once a jewel of the Galactic Empire, now seethed with tension. Beings of all shapes and sizes hurried through its winding corridors, their voices a jumble of alien languages. But beneath the usual chaos of commerce, a current of excitement pulsed. In a shadowy corner, a hooded figure passed a data chip to a tall, willowy alien with iridescent skin. "It's all there," the hooded one whispered. "Earth's transmission codes. Use them wisely." The willowy alien, a Lysanthian named Zora, nodded gravely. "The Resistance thanks you. May your people's chains be broken soon." As Zora melted into the crowd, alerts blared across the spaceport. Imperial troops poured in, their armor clanking ominously. "Attention." A mechanized voice boomed. "This port is now under lockdown. All beings submit to identity checks immediately." But it was too late. The spark of rebellion, kindled by humanity's defiance, had already begun to spread. Light years away on the bridge of the Earth flagship Defiance, Admiral Elena Rodriguez reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "It's working," she murmured, a smile tugging at her lips. "Uprisings on 12 Imperial worlds in the last week alone." Her XO, Commander Jamal Mickey, nodded in agreement. "Seems the oppressed species of the galaxy just needed to see it was possible to fight back. Humanity showed them the way." Elena's smile faded. "Yes, but now comes the hard part. We need to coordinate these rebellions, turn them into a real fighting force." As if on cue, a holographic projection flickered to life in the center of the bridge. It showed a motley assortment of alien beings, representatives of the newly formed Galactic Resistance. "Greetings, allies," Elena began. "We've made great strides, but the Empire is rallying. We need to strike at their core worlds before they can regroup." A reptilian being hissed in agreement. "The Saurians stand ready. We've already disabled 2 Imperial shipyards in our sector. The Lysanthian underground has infiltrated their communication networks," Zara added. "We can feed them false information, sow confusion in their ranks." One by one, the alien resistance leaders reported their progress and pledged their support. Humanity, once the newest species on the galactic stage, now found itself leading an interstellar alliance. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Palace, Empress Vexera's rage knew no bounds. "Incompetence," she screeched, her tentacles lashing out at cowering advisors. "How could you let this happen? First the humans, now half the galaxy rises against us." Admiral Kronak, his exoskeleton scarred from recent battles, stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we underestimated the humans' ability to inspire others. They've given hope to species we've dominated for millennia." Vexera's compound eyes narrowed dangerously. "Then we must crush that hope. Permanently. Prepare the planet-killer weapons. We'll make examples of these rebel worlds." A gasp went through the throne room. Even hardened Imperial officers blanched at the thought of such wholesale destruction. But before the orders could be carried out, alarms blared throughout the palace. The captain of the guard rushed in, his mandibles clicking in distress. "We're under attack. Somehow, the rebels have penetrated our defenses." Outside, the sky filled with ships of all descriptions, sleek human vessels fighting alongside cobbled-together alien craft. At their head flew the Phoenix, Captain Maya Patel at its helm. "All ships, concentrate fire on their defensive grid," Maya commanded. "Ground teams, you have your targets. May fortune favor the bold." Across the Imperial capital, carefully planted explosives detonated. Power grids failed, defense systems went offline, and in the ensuing chaos, drop pods rained from the sky, disgorging human marines and alien resistance fighters. The battle for the Imperial throne world had begun. Back on Earth, the United Earth Council watched the unfolding conflict with bated breath. The Secretary General turned to his colleagues, his expression grave. Whether we win or lose today, the galaxy will never be the same. The Chinese premier nodded solemnly. We set out to defend our world. Now we fight to free a galaxy. As reports flooded in from the front lines, one thing became clear. The age of the Galactic Empire was ending. What would rise in its place remained to be seen. But one thing was certain. Humanity would have a say in shaping the future of the stars. The Galactic uprising had begun in earnest, and at its heart stood the most unlikely of leaders, the humans of Earth. The Imperial Palace burned. Smoke billowed from its once majestic spires as human and alien rebel forces pushed deeper into the heart of the Galactic Empire's seat of power. Captain Maya Patel, her armor scorched and dented, led a mixed squad of Earth Marines and Lysanthian guerrillas through opulent halls now scared by battle. The throne room should be just ahead. Maya shouted over the din of combat. Remember, we need the Empress alive if possible. This needs to end with diplomacy, not just firepower. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with a phalanx of Imperial guards. For a moment, both sides froze, sizing each other up. Then, unexpectedly, the lead guard lowered his weapon. Enough, he said, his mandibles clicking with emotion. Too much blood has been spilled. We will take you to the Empress. In the Grand Throne Room, Empress Vexera sat amid the ruins of her power. Her tentacles, once proudly writhing, now lay limp as she watched the rebels enter. So, she hissed, it has come to this. Will you kill me now, humans? Become the very monsters you claimed we were. Maya stepped forward, removing her helmet. No, Your Majesty. We're here to negotiate the terms of your surrender and the transition to a new galactic government. Meanwhile, in orbit above the planet, the space battle raged on. Admiral Elena Rodriguez, aboard the Defiance, coordinated the Allied fleet's efforts. Imperial ships, outgunned and outmaneuvered, were beginning to break formation. Admiral, her sensor officer called out, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the Imperial flagship. It looks like, oh no, they're powering up a planet-killer weapon. Elena's blood ran cold. Even in defeat, it seemed the Empire was willing to destroy its own throne world rather than surrender. She opened a channel to all ships. This is Admiral Rodriguez. All vessels, concentrate fire on the Imperial flagship. We cannot let that weapon discharge. In a desperate gambit, Elena ordered the Defiance to ram the Imperial ship. As her crew braced for impact, a blinding light filled the view screen. But it wasn't an explosion. A new ship had appeared, placing itself between the Defiance and certain destruction. It was the Phoenix. Captain Patel's voice crackled over the comms. Thought you could use a hand, Admiral. Our new shields should buy you the time you need. With the Phoenix running interference, the Allied fleet was able to disable the Imperial flagship's weapon. As the last Imperial ship surrendered, a cheer went up across the rebel fleet. The war was over. In the days that followed, representatives from Earth and every alien species in the former Empire gathered on the throne world. In the same palace where Empress Vexera once ruled with an iron fist, a new council chamber was established. The Secretary General of Earth stood to address the assembly. We gather here not as conquerors, but as equals. The Galactic Empire is no more. In its place, we propose a new federation of free worlds. A murmur of approval ran through the alien delegates. The Lysanthian representative, Zara, spoke up. We owe humanity a great debt. You showed us that resistance was possible, that tyranny could be overthrown. Perhaps, the Secretary General replied. But we've all learned valuable lessons. Humanity's strength came not just from our adaptability or our technology, but from our diversity and our ability to cooperate. These are principles we hope to bring to our new galactic community. One by one, the representatives of different species stood to pledge their support for the new federation. Even former imperial worlds, seeing the promise of a more just system, joined the alliance. As the declaration was signed, Captain Maya Patel and Admiral Elena Rodriguez watched from a balcony overlooking the Grand Chamber. "Did you ever imagine it would end like this?" Maya asked, her voice filled with wonder. Elena shook her head, smiling. "When we started, we just wanted to defend our home. Now look at us, architects of a new galactic order." As the sun set on the former imperial capital, casting a warm glow over the city, both women knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had not only survived its first contact with a hostile alien civilization, it had thrived, adapted, and ultimately reshaped the very stars. The Galactic Empire had discovered that humans don't just negotiate or dominate. They revolutionize.